In this video, I will go over the budgeting mistakes that I have made and the 5-step method that I use to master the art of budgeting. Also, if you're in an emergency cash crunch right now, by the end of the video, I'll give you a method to get out of it called stabilize. So I always had an issue of keeping money. No matter how much I made, I was always short at the end of the month. My financial education is mostly through the mistakes that I've made. I realized that the biggest mistake that I was making was not knowing how to budget. I moved here a couple of decades ago with my family of 4 with only $1,200 to our name. With all 4 of us, we moved into a 500 square foot apartment and Ed already was out looking for jobs. I was the youngest and still in school, yet had to work to make ends meet and to improve the quality of our lives. My first mistake started with not figuring out how much money I was actually making. At one point in my life, I was working 3 jobs, roughly about 18 to 20 hours a day. Yes, I was earning, but I was struggling as I did not figure out how much money I was actually earning. You see, income is whatever money you expect to get during a month. That includes your regular paycheck, a side hustle, or even a yard sale. If you have a partner, both of your income should be counted towards your household income. Not knowing how much my net income was, it was already setting me up for failure. As the saying goes, what cannot be measured cannot be managed. Speaking of measurement, the second mistake I made was not focusing on my expenses, not knowing where my money was going or what it was going towards. Was just a simple recipe for disaster. Hi, my name is Tasvr Mirza. I'm a realtor and a diversified investor based in South Florida. And on this channel, I make finance-related videos on a budget. Feel free to jump on the timestamp below if you'd like to save some money. Well, time is money. And while you're down there, consider hitting the like and subscribe button below. Now, these are the 2 mistakes that were the cause of my financial turmoil. Once I identified these 2 mistakes, I applied a simple method called money. How ironic, right? That forever changed my life. Now, the first thing I did was to identify my income from every single sources. My regular salary, some of the gigs that I was performing on the side, I tallied up everything to come up with my base number, obligations. Once I had my income sorted out, now it was time for me to manage where my income was actually going. I divided my expenses into 3 separate categories. Back then, I didn't have apps like Copilot or Mint, so I used a simple Excel spreadsheet. First category was fixed expenses. These are the expenses that were inevitable at the end of the month that had to be paid, such as rent, utility bills, car payment, insurances, etc. The second was variable expenses, which are groceries, gas, etc. The third was the discretionary expenses. These expenses are mostly fun stuff, such as dining out, not out at the bar. These are, of course, optional, but they're very important for you to have it on your expense list because these are the expenses, if you don't count, then it might be the reason why you will fall off the bandwagon. Numbers. Now the fun part, the actual budgeting process. The idea was simple for me. Difference between my income and expenses had to be 0, which is called zero-based budgeting. No, I did not mean that I was going to spend everything that I was earning. I tried to find a purpose for every single dollar that I was spending. If the difference was positive, I could have used that dollar for another financial milestone. But if it was negative, I had to check where I could cut and reduce my expenses to balance the budget in the future. Ethos. The fine line between your needs and your wants is budgeting. In other words, your actual spending versus your desired spending highlights the essence of budgeting. You have to find out what's your way and why. For me, it was the financial situation that I was in with my family. Working tirelessly, not being able to rub 2 pennies together, and always being broke at the end of the month. That was my short-term goal. And for my long-term goal was to improve the quality of my life for me and my family. One of them was to move into a better home. But that wasn't going to be possible if I did not have a budget. It could be completely different for you. Maybe it could be a dream holiday, becoming debt-free, or owning a beautiful home. These aspirations are your financial targets driving your budgeting process. Establish them using the SMART framework. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's not just a catchy acronym, it's about precision and dedication. If you don't have a goal of why you are saving, then identifying the problem in the long run will not really work. And you know what else is not working? Over 90% of viewers of my videos are not subscribed. Now, I have a goal to grow this community 1,000 strong by the end of the year, and I need your help for that. If you can please like this video and subscribe to this channel, that will make this channel make videos on a budget. As I was tracking all of this, now I had to start think about saving and possibly starting to invest. This is where I learned the 50-30-20 rule. According to this rule, 50% of my income was going towards my needs, 30% of my income was going towards my wants, and 20% towards my savings and debt repayment. Not to mention that I was not financially solvent and did not have proper financial education. Hence, my credit cards were all maxed out. Credit card interest rates are enough to bring even Elon Musk down. The first thing I did was to start paying off all the high-rate credit cards. I didn't really focus on saving at that point because the interest rate that I was going to be paying was going to eat up the savings anyways. Therefore, it was essential just to pay those credit card fast and never to max those out, as it was also affecting my credit score. If you'd like to know how I got my credit score from basically 300 to almost 800, let me know in the comment section below. Once I paid off my credit card debt, I started focusing on saving up for an emergency fund. I prioritized saving 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses just so I can have a safety net in case of emergency. Now, if you're in an emergency cash crunch, follow the stabilized method. Safeguard against immediate setbacks. If you're short on paying critical bills like rent, explore options such as bill extensions or payment plans. Track credit card obligations. Paying only the minimum on credit cards or missing payments can spiral into huge debt due to late fees and high interest rate. Assess bill priorities. Go through every bill, decide which ones demand immediate action, and synchronize payments with your earnings cycle. Bypass the standard saving rule for now. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, focus on stabilizing your financing first before setting aside savings. Inspect previous monthly expenditures, utilize online banking and budgeting apps like Mint or Copilot to categorize and understand your spending habits. Lobby for lower credit card rates. If you have a good credit history, consider calling your credit card companies to request a lower interest rate. Identify and cut redundant costs. Cut back on non-essentials like frequent dining outs or unnecessary grocery items to save money. Zoning a fresh monthly budget. After setting a budget, monitor your spending closely for a month, using tools that works best for you to ensure you stick with it. Evaluate and take action. If your budget doesn't seem to be working after a month, reevaluate and make necessary cuts even in areas considered basic. If balancing your budget remains a challenge, consider finding additional income streams, whether through overtime or a second job or a better paying job. Now, your financial needs or aspiration could be completely different than mine. You can have a completely different experience than mine. Everyone's journey is different. For that, you can use a variety of budgeting tools that helps you manage your money. Some people like to have a traditional budget, which basically is a spending tab for each category, such as entertainment or groceries, etc. Others can choose budget that's based on zero, which necessitates tracking every single dollar spent. Whatever your taste may be or your way may be, start small. If you try to overhaul your entire budget overnight, you will most likely fail. Find whatever method that works for you. There's no right way or wrong way as long as it meets your goals. You always need to be flexible. As your income will grow, so should your budget. Watch this video if you'd like to know how car stealership is stealing your money. As always, if you like the vibe, join the tribe. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button below so we can meet again. Thank you for hanging out with me. See you in the next video. Also, if you're in an emergency, once I had my income sorted out, now it was time to manage